Hello there. I'm Endercast, and this is how I talk with my mouth. I'm a good caster and very handsome. And words. Okay, we didn't plan that one, so that was a little...
I was trying to reverse lip sync it.
I appreciate that. That worked well. I wasn't sure if you were going to follow me on that one. We are, of course, back for Game 3. It is 1-1 after one of the craziest comebacks that we have seen. Massive for SK Gaming. Time to see what Fnatic can do in response. Now, of course, if you were listening before, side selection. Fnatic are running it back. It's blue side again. They got the choice. They're happy to take it. I think it makes sense when you see how well their early games have been going, but the question for me is, how does this Fnatic lineup deal with the pressure of losing in a game that felt so decided and so won?
Yeah, going back to your point, I think blue side is the strongest. It has been the strongest side for the last couple of years, especially when I was a pro in 2019, 2020. You always favor blue side, and the reason for that is because of the amount of OPs in the game. And then blue side always gets first choice on the OP, and blue side can always target ban, whereas red side bans away first pick OP. So blue side just naturally has an advantage in the draft. So Fnatic wanting to run it back, seems like they think the draft was not the problem. I think the biggest problem, what I saw in the fights especially, was Fnatic was just overreaching way too much. Yeah. Their front line was going way too deep, whereas their carries were just on another screen. They couldn't actually do any damage, and then they ended up losing the fight because by the time the front line dies, their carries get to the fight, and they're dead as well.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a pretty natural thing that can happen when you have a Sion, a Rakan, and a Hecarim, all these champions very fast, very long range where they can actually engage fights from. You just have to make sure your backline can be there to support, because it felt like even after Fnatic were able to come away with a few kills early on to start it off, then you have Jezu flying into that critical fight, staring down 4 members of Fnatic and turning it around. So ultimately, that game very winnable for Fnatic, and no real surprise that they're not really looking to shake it up too much.
Yeah, I think every draft has its own weakness, right? No draft is perfect. And I think that draft in particular for Fnatic, the 2 weaknesses it has is the early game and diving too deep in fights with your front line your carries can't hit. Even though your carries are quite long range, it's very difficult for them to join the fight if you go too deep. So Fnatic covered the first disadvantage on the draft. The second one was not executed very well. 10k gold up and Baron, you should not be losing those kind of games. So I have to see how Fnatic want to bounce back in this best of 5.
Yeah, and as far as other elements, you know, as far as the drafts have gone thus far, SK always holding, you know, red side, getting last pick, counter pick for Jenax, making it so that, you know, Bwipo's sticking to these more traditional picks. He doesn't necessarily have the pop-off counter pick like the Riven we saw when these two teams faced off in the regular season. And I wonder if that could be an element that Fnatic do look to change. Even after their win, they did make some key changes in the draft, banning away the Tristana that Upset was piloting himself, and now in blue again, they have more ways in which they can mix it up.
Yeah, looking at SK, right, you just came off the back of one of the biggest comebacks ever. You made your way back in the game, and you can dissect Fnatic's playstyle. Their early game is quite clear. The last 2 games they're playing topside. Do SK want to draft against it or counter it in the way that they approach these early games? Because playing towards bot is all good and dandy, but if your top laner keeps getting constantly ganked and winning matchups, you need to make sure that you stop that from happening.
And the pick that I have my eye on this time, the Hecarim, yes, it's been powerful, but the Alistar seems to be the #1 in the support pool. And when you've got players like Treatz and Hylissang on your stage, it's something that you have to watch. Let's get into it. It's in picks and bans for Game 3.
Banger.
It always is. All right, let's get into the draft here. Now, both previous games, very heavy focus in terms of bot lane champions. Kalista is no surprise, one of Jezu's favorite champs to play down on the bottom side of the map. We expect the Tahm Kench, the Thresh, the Rell now for Fnatic. Oh, it's the Alistar. Okay, so now Fnatic, they're like, there's a couple OPs up in the air that they want to first pick. Is it the Rell if SK leave it open? Is it the Twisted Fate if that's still there? Is it the Tristana either? Because SK not changing their bans means there's going to be a few of those up.
Yeah, there's 3 OPs up now. There's Rell, Tristana, and Twisted Fate. So someone's getting something here. Tristana's banned away. There's 2 left that you would expect on a first pick, barring the Hecarim perhaps. You've got Rell and you've got Twisted Fate. SK took the TF away again. So Rell's open. Does Hylissang want to pick that up?
I mean, he has to.
The other thing is if they lock in the Kai'Sa here, they can pair, there's a lot of options to pair it with. Leona's been a decent pairing, the Nautilus is up and available, while Rell certainly feels like the S tier. I can't imagine we're going to see a Rakan again this time around. We're going to see how Fnatic pivot because they're still opting to go for this Hecarim. Now, the tank Hecarim, so very strong in the early to mid game, but as you get later, eventually it does feel a little bit more lackluster.
Yeah, of course, maybe lacking the backline kill threat once there's some lifesteal, once there's some peel tools at their disposal. Now Jezu going to be trying his hand on the Xayah. Now Caedrel, you mentioned the Udyr as an answer into the Hecarim earlier on. Strong early fighting, maybe giving some TynX some early fighting power against this Hecarim that's just been spam ganking Jenax.
Yeah, looking at jungle overall, the 4 OPs on the previous patches were Hecarim, Udyr, Nidalee, and Lilia. Now, Renekton's got a lot weaker because of the nerfs to Strikebreaker. Yes, Gnar got hit as well, but the Renekton being taken out means Nidalee's taken out as well because TF's also out, and Nidalee functions well with these two solo laners. So, yeah, Kai'Sa Rell picked up from the side of Fnatic. It's not surprising, really, is it, when they've taken away Xayah and these are the only bot laners available. I think that's such a strong trio that Fnatic have, though. Hecarim, Kai'Sa, Rell. So much engage, lots of scaling, and you can pull the trigger whenever you want. But yeah, going back to jungle matchups, Hecarim versus Udyr, I think this is the best kind of answer. We've seen it traded across the world. These are the kind of best junglers in the meta right now.
And we're going to have to see what TynX can do with this early game, because again, it has felt like Selfmade has come out on top consistently in the early game stages. Even last game when he had the Lilia, wasn't able to leverage his early game pressure from his laners as much as he would like to. This Udyr pick, though, an opportunity to show what he's made of, impact the map in the early game, and when you're against that Kai'Sa Rell, you feel like you're going to want to get those leads. Now, admittedly, SK Gaming, yes, they have the Xayah Rakan. If you pull it off flawlessly, it looks good, but you saw in those late game team fights, Hylissang, maybe partly because he doesn't have flash, just gets one shot if you go late enough.
Yeah, it can definitely be a difficult situation to be put in on that Rakan. Expecting to see Treatz maybe have that flash this time around, but we'll see. Now, as far as the bans have gone in this second phase, typically Fnatic have banned the Lucian before, but I think the Orianna makes a little bit more sense without, you know, a hard AP jungler to Lucian, maybe not quite as high in priority. They've also been banning that Karma too, taking away that supportive style champion for a Jenax potentially in the top side of the map. But I want to see if a GP gets left open this time, if that's something Bwipo would like to go for himself. Because I think a GP plus a Rell plus a Hecarim gives you so much ability to play through bot lane this game.
Yeah, and I was surprised they didn't pick up the GP in game 2. It just disrupts the backline so much, especially when you've got the long range of Azir and Xayah and the long range engage already of things like the Hecarim. I was expecting a GP pick, but no, they went for the frontline Sion. The comp made sense overall. It looks like they're kind of running it back in a sense. They have the hard engage jungle, they have the hard engage support, and they have the Kai'Sa for this mid to late game scaling, very strong early as well with the Halo Blades, but mid laners are banned out all across the board. There's 4 mid laners banned out, so I have to see how these mid laners approach it. I'm guessing something like Syndra is open for both these players. Akali!
Wow. Akali got some big changes on this patch as well, especially around, you know, her energy regeneration. We can get into that later. I think the critical difference for Fnatic is now they have a full tank melee support as opposed to that Rakan, so now they can go for the Karma up on the top side, very strong blind pickable champion, and the Lucian for Nisqy in mid, a hard-winning mid lane match to try and punish this Akali.
And when we look at it, Fnatic have been coming out on top in the laning phases consistently, and they are doubling down with some of these picks. If this Lucian gets ahead, it is a much harder mid-game to play out. That said, we've now got the responses coming in for SK. The Akali, something I'm excited to see how it functions. And if Jenax has the confidence to go for Jayce, that's big. He's had a fantastic series so far, but Jayce, one of the most volatile top laners in the game.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I like the Akali and Jayce pick, I feel like Fnatic's response, as instant as it was a very good response. Lucian into the Akali gets the push, and then Karma is just a neutralizing top that scales super well with your team, especially when you've got things like Lucian, Kai'Sa, and Hecarim, so you have engage and you have people to shield in the team fights, and I think that Fnatic's response is good, but SK have definitely picked volatile lanes. If these Akali and this Jayce gets ahead, it's very hard for Fnatic to play the game. So again, SK playing this early game S comp with things like the Akali, Udyr, Jayce. I'm not talking level 1 early game, obviously. Level 6 is where these champs will get really strong, but against things like the Lucian, it's very difficult with the Akali to actually punish the lane. TynX definitely needs to visit mid lane a lot in this.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. Traditionally, SK maybe play a little bit more around bot side, but in a game like this with these two solo lane champions, maybe an Udyr can visit top, maybe he can get around mid, have some sort of an early influence, because this series, it has been all self-made in the early game. TynX has been relatively quiet. Now on the Udyr, he has a shot to get the job done.
Not just a shot, but also a responsibility to help keep his mid laner and his top laner safe, make sure that they can build the advantages that they are set up to do so in the drafting phase. And Akali, bit of a mystery to me. Going to have to see how big the changes have been, if she can weather the storm of that early game. If when level 6 comes around, she can still be that solo kill threat and pressure that we expect her to be. And again, we're 1-1. It's just a best of 3 standing in front of us. Fnatic maybe were hoping for that 3-0, maybe confident that they could get it. But after that last game, you have to wonder, are they sweating for it? Because we're getting ready for game 3. And here we are onto the Rift. Level 1 plays from the side of Fnatic. Seems like this time around they're not looking to fish for anything. Playing a bit more defensively here in their own jungle, respecting the power potentially of that level 1 Udyr.
Yeah, and Hylissang does what he does best. He puts the ward in the bush. He does this every game that I've seen Fnatic play, apart from the couple of games in this series where they try to look for the cheese with the Gragas, with the Rakan, but both supports doing the same thing. And when it comes to bot lane in general, that middle brush is so important in these 2v2s with these kind of melee matchups and such volatile lanes. And talking about volatile lanes, this Jayce into Karma. I think Karma neutralizes the Jayce, but Jayce needs to get ahead, obviously. Then you've got Akali into Lucian, who needs to get ahead to start impacting the map in the mid game, because the Lucian will naturally get an advantage in the isolation in the 1v1. So TynX, we've said it before, Selfmade's been playing topside most of these games. TynX needs to match him, especially if Jenax gets ganked in this kind of matchup and he falls behind. It's so difficult for him to find ways back into it.
Yeah, definitely is. And Jenax has been pushing in a lot of these early lanes, putting himself in some vulnerable positions. So if he is going to be that far forward, needs to have TynX in the area, have deep enough vision to spot this Hecarim coming his way. Now we see the early inklings of a 2v2 down bot side. We'll see exactly how far they want to commit. There's a Guardian on Treatz. Now he's going to turn it around.
And now they're going to go back in. That's going to be the knockback. Treatz now going to be in trouble. Upset looking to finish the job. Good damage coming in. First blood. No more players surviving with 5 health, 60 health. It does not matter. That is one dead Rakan.
Another 2v2 kill on the board for Fnatic. Hylissang even charges in to see what he can do against Jezu, but that's a way to bounce back after losing that game too. Fnatic were in the lead for so long, we were wondering, like, Fnatic, are they going to fall apart? You know, what sort of look do they come in game number 3? Well, that looked real good for Fnatic.
Yeah, we talked about it. Rakan naturally loses to these Aftershock supports because when he goes in, he can't proc it, whereas the other support can. So Jezu couldn't take down Hylissang, whereas Upset could take down Treatz. So 2v2 kill for Fnatic. They have the push. Upset obviously can't spend the gold that he got from the kill, so the lane is still even. Jezu has a potion, if anything. So SK should be fine for now. It's only when Upset goes back to base, spends that gold and comes back on the map that they'll start to feel the punishment from this 2v2 kill.
But now the pressure starts to double. Again, TynX the player that we are keeping our eyes on. His bot lane already falling behind. His mid lane might need a little bit of support here. As you can see, Lucian continuously pushing in, and now there are more lanes that need his support. And in the meantime, Selfmade sitting pretty, farming up, comfortable to do so. So TynX in for a rough ride here in the early game.
Right, looking at summoners and bot side, Upset of course held on to that heal, so even though there are biscuits on Jezu, you still favor them. The XP advantage over Treatz too. TynX is on the bot side of the map and likely, you know, contest for the bot Scuttlecrab, but he may not even be able to do that. He wins this matchup in terms of like the level 3 fight, but with Lucian in mid lane hard pushing with the 2v2 going so well for Fnatic, Selfmade has free reign to sort of walk into this bot side river, and if TynX doesn't move over fast enough, Selfmade could potentially look for 2 crabs.
Yeah, definitely. Nisqy stacking the mid wave for when the crab spawns. So when the crab spawns, he's going to crash it, but both junglers on the bot side, they're both level 4, both full clear. Treatz gets a knock on Hylissang.
Hylissang is going to go in, crash down.
There we go.
Quite there. TynX now getting knocked back to the team, but it is a strong Udyr. Maybe not strong enough, though. TynX flashing out to safety. TP now used. That's going to be big here. Blue in the midst of everything, but that's a level 3 Akali, not doing a lot. Losing that TP for the mid lane is going to be pretty tough. Luckily for him, Nisqy responds.
This is horrific for Blue. He TP'd when the wave was under his tower, so he lost the creeps, and the mid wave is going to bounce into Nisqy. So Blue TPing in here has lost him so much in his lane phase. He's going to really struggle when it comes to level 4, level 5 after the first base. You can see Nisqy already basing because he knows the wave's bouncing. Blue has to run here and push it out, because otherwise when Nisqy comes back to lane, he's really going to have a tough time.
And Caedrel, it's a double crab for Selfmade too. Bwipo's also got pushed in the top side, so even though Blue is here in mid, that should be picked up for Selfmade. He has the smite as well, so nothing that TynX can really do here to get it in time. No smite of his own to contest away. Maybe he tries to fight him, but pretty sure this horse is just going to run away.
Yeah, phase rush.
That is bad news for SK. Already down 500 gold, and while that doesn't seem like a lot at 4 minutes into the game, a Cole as a first reset for Nisqy too. Fnatic are looking very strong.
Yeah, and SK, this whole fight came from this bot wave stacking. They need to crash the wave. You will see Hylissang and Upset try and freeze it here, and they need to crash the wave, but they're losing the 2v2 as it stands. Yes, Jezu's level 4, but he doesn't have the heal. Both ignites are coming up soon. I wouldn't be surprised to see a fight.
Hylissang now kicking things off. A good bit of damage. The instant stun follow-up there coming in. Treatz now trying to respond, though. Hylissang has to pull away. Hylissang getting burned down. They're going to get one. Upset's going to look to respond. Jezu now going to be in trouble, but Treatz not going to stick around to try to turn this, even with the creep wave there to back him up.
Upset, beautiful.
Isolated Q, baby. You love to see it.
Another 2 kills for Upset. It's almost like a bot diff here. You can see them trying to crash the wave. Hylissang finds a fight. Yes, he dies, but double kill for Upset on this Kai'Sa. When he bases, he's going to be spending so much gold, as Blue is also trying to crash a wave. These losing lanes are really struggling on the bouncing waves on the 3rd, 4th waves.
I mean, it's 3-0 for Upset, and this is the type of game we were expecting when we came into the series. You know, bot lanes that are both super volatile from level 1, looking for that all-in threat. And it looks like it's a bit of a teeter-totter here, with Hylissang going in for that initial fight, and then after the aftershock is over, they're like, wait a second, we can turn this around, but it doesn't matter because Jezu's being free-fired on this entire time, and then it's ADC versus support.
Yeah, so well played by Upset to get the second kill. W flash forwards.
Yep.
Finish off Treatz, who doesn't have the flash, and it all comes from the wave, right? They knew they needed to get it in. Upset and Hylissang punish it, and yeah, Upset 3-0-0 on this Kai'Sa. Look at the item difference. 2 longswords on either side, but a serrated Dirk and boots for Upset. So this 2v2 is going to be monstrously hard for the side of SK. They need their jungler down here. They need Jenax, perhaps look for a TP, but Selfmade already level 6, a level up on TynX from the double crab, like you said. Looking for an invade here. TynX has no flash, so if he gets connected some CC, he could fall.
Oh, now they're going to see TynX.
And they spot him
have
just
the
yet. Now they
option.
do.
Going in, that's going to be the stun. That's the immediate follow-up. TynX now going to be in trouble. TynX no flash either. He's trying to run for his life. Bear stance, but he cannot get anything done in the exchange. Hylissang grabs the kill.
And SK just have to completely erase the game plan. They wanted to play through mid, through top lane, but because of all the antics around bot lane, the 2v2s over and over again, well, now Fnatic are going to keep throwing everything they have down there. Upset dodges away from the engage there by Treatz, and SK, what are they going to do? They have a Jayce they want to play through. They want to get ahead in lane, but they can't do anything because they'll lose everything on the bot side.
Yeah, and to put salt in the wound, Upset is 3-0 in 6 minutes, and you have a Karma top. So you have this protect the AD carry sort of comp with the engage, with Nisqy and Upset being the main carries of the team, and Upset's already so far ahead of Jezu. The only bad thing about Fnatic's comp, I must argue, is the fact that the lack of ability power, right? If Bwipo does build towards his supportive style, there's not much AP, plated steel caps could be very valuable. You can see the Seeker's already on blue, so the armor items could be very efficient the later the game goes, but Upset is already so strong, and Selfmade's using these double crabs, getting the level up, bringing Hylissang with his winning lane, and punishing jungle as well.
And you have to keep your eyes on this bot lane still. Treatz will get chunked out with Hex Flash, of course. They can look to make these plays, but when level 6 comes through, Kai'Sa Rell, one of the most devastating 2v2 kill combos in the bottom lane. The ability to dash forward with the Magnet Storm, and Nisqy's just straight up 1v2.
Yeah, the casual 1v2 in the mid lane. Nisqy out of mana is the good news for the side of SK, but this is disastrous. Now remember, when we saw SK come back in the previous game, it was strong team fighting. It was picks that enabled them to do so. It was punishing Fnatic maybe for overextending. This time, they bet a ton on their solo lanes, and it's backfiring because Fnatic have been the team dominating the early game across this entire series, and now that they're getting kills in the bottom lane, things are grim for SK. In the last games, guys, it was 10 minutes. It was like 1 kill to 1. It's 8 minutes. Fnatic already up 4 kills and 2k gold.
Yeah, and look at the minimap. Just to make it even worse, top lane pushed in, bot lane pushed in. Bwipo moving mid, Hylissang moving mid. That means Nisqy can punish his winning mid matchup even harder because Blue had TP bot earlier on, so he couldn't weather the storm with his first TP base. And he's already 20 CS up. Looks like they're going towards the Herald, but Upset gets flashed on.
Upset not going to be in trouble. The ulti. Sidestep there. Treat's not going to be able to commit anymore. He doesn't have an ulti of his own.
I mean, it's like exuding so much power from Fnatic because Hylissang walks all the way up through mid lane while Fnatic are very clearly on vision doing the Rift Herald saying, no SK, you can't actually put us off this objective. Upset down bot side, doesn't even have to use his flash to escape, baits a flash and an ignite out of Treatz too. Can't quite finish off the kill because with that killer instinct, you can't dodge away. And Jezu gets the reset cancel.
Bwipo is going to be in trouble. The level 8 has to move away. Mantra W maybe can save him, but he gets knocked back. That's going to be massive. The healing coming in, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Bwipo will get taken down. They're going to try to donate the kill over to the Jayce.
I mean, you're going to have to hit him eventually. Yep, TynX has to take that one for himself. Would have loved to give it to Jenax, but this is what SK were wanting to do for way more during this game. Very nicely played Jenax to wait very long before he pops the E and knocks back Bwipo towards his side of the map. And that is an important kill to get over to SK, but they continue to just lose so much on the bot side as plates are under fire as well.
Yeah, Jenax will be able to push in the wave, will get a little bit of a CS lead, does get the plate as well. So the Jayce is sitting nicely and comfortably in this early game. He does get a little bit of a lead in top side. Now they need to translate their winning top into mid because now they've already lost the Herald. Bot lane's winning. There's so much pressure on the map. Nisqy still has the mid push. Jenax is ahead, but can he stop this? There's so much strength coming out of the mid and bot side of Fnatic.
Yeah, because that's the thing. SK aren't just playing to keep, you know, the gold even. They're playing to eventually, hopefully, win team fights later on into the game. And Jayce, frankly, isn't the champion that's going to be killing a Kai'Sa in these fights. Sure, you know, maybe he's poking with his Q, and that's nice, but ultimately it will be Blue diving into the backline that has to get over the damage threshold to cut through the heal, the sustain, the killer instinct, the shields, all these things. So Blue has to have some form of damage, and right now he's just trying to survive the storm that is laning against Lucian.
Yeah, definitely. It's really, really tough. He has the TP up soon, so he could TP back in to catch this mid wave. But Selfmade has the Herald, Bwipo has the top push. Fnatic have so many options on where they want to put this Herald. Upset does have flash up, and I think SK are looking for a pick on him. We'll have to see how the game progresses, but 1 minute 30 seconds on the Drake. Blue does decide to TP back into mid. And I think the next fight will be around this dragon. SK have some kind of bot push because Hylissang keeps moving mid. And I love what Fnatic are doing. Just keep using your side lane to go to mid so Nisqy can keep playing so aggressively.
Yeah, early on, maybe you expect more kills to come bot lane. Instead, they're using the advantage that Upset has to let him farm alone safely so Hylissang can continue to roam to try to extend their advantage into other lanes. SK grouping around mid lane, as you said, maybe a setup for Dragon here for the side of SK, but Hylissang making sure to push in, making sure to take some of that vision away. Now, if you're an SK fan, it sounds like a little bit of a negative thing, especially when you see the numbers on this graphic, but it's actually good news for you because you've come back from worse. You've come back from impossible odds. That said, a little bit of awkward timing on my part. Jezu's living even through that. So things not too bad, guys. Look, at 15 minutes, you were 4K down. This game around, you're in a bit of a deficit, but you've proven to come back before. The question is, can SK do it again?
Yeah, if you can survive, you know, the 3-0 Kai'Sa and the 1v1, you can maybe survive the game. But realistically, it does come down to SK being excellent team fighters coming through because they don't have the flashiest of laners apart from bot lane, you know, really getting aggressive in the early game on average. They are going to be losing out. Now, they came back from a big deficit in the last game. This game, maybe not quite as set up compositionally to do it. Fnatic continue to attack bot lane.
Yeah, I think SK is going to lose even more here. Nisqy has the mid push, Selfmade helps him push out. They go towards bot side together. Fnatic push in. SK have the base because they have to respect the all-in because Jezu got chunked out from Upset, and now bot tower is going to fall. So Fnatic snowballing the game really well. Drake's up in 5 seconds as well. Jenax towards the top side. Bwipo has TP up as well. So Fnatic should be able to get the dragon too. I think SK need to find something. You saw TynX top side, now he's around mid. They have to find some kind of return investment, some kind of cross map that they can trade off with Fnatic. They're running towards the top side here now, but Bwipo, he's already pushed out the wave.
Yeah.
He has the vision. Fnatic are covering all their bases while getting the leads.
It feels really impossible to play the game, to have a focus here for SK because Selfmade, this entire series, has just been so on top of objective play, always getting that first Herald spawn, and now TynX going to be spotted out by Bwipo. And by having such a hard-winning bot lane matchup, you're getting Drake so early into the game. 2 Drakes already at 12 minutes in. You're looking at a 21, 22-minute soul point fight for Fnatic, and working off that, off massive gold advantages, will be critical. Treatz tries to dance around Selfmade, but will dodge out in the end.
And I think if you're Fnatic and you said, hey, look, the game went against us when we went late enough, just win sooner. You know, at this point, that has to be the plan. But now the collapse onto Nisqy is going to be big. The dash, the flash over to safety takes now with the follow-up. The Akali is there to clean it up. Nisqy gets taken down. Bwipo here, but what else can he get done? Blue now going to be in trouble. He has been marked out. He's out of the shroud now. Bwipo can finish the job. Bwipo running for the hills. Treatz now on the way in, but he has to be careful because Selfmade is here as well. He is still going to find him, but that's the engage. That's the turn. They're locked under the tower, and disaster strikes again. SK get a little bit back, but TynX running for his life. Maybe. Are the gates open?
I don't know if he can get away from this one. 2 seconds waiting to speed up on Hecarim. Hecarim's flying on in there. It's a battle of speed. Who's going to win?
TynX running. He's under the tower. The turn back. Oh, they can't finish the job.
Out.
And the gold medal goes to TynX in the 100-meter dash.
Wow.
Yeah, such a good team fight from Fnatic. They collapse in time. And I think the one thing that SK had going for them, although they lost the fight in general, was Jenax was hitting the top tower this whole time. He got around 3 plates for this whole play, but I like the aggression. Look how well Blue plays this flash ultimate into the E to make sure he can dash back on him. Saves the second ultimate for his escape. Yes, Bwipo does take him down. Treatz doesn't come up in the end. And they do manage to pick up Bwipo because he has no flash from earlier on from the gank. But they do end up losing Treatz. So all in all, not a bad trade for the side of SK, especially when your Jayce is looking on the minimap. He's hitting on this top tower, 1 plating left, and that's your win condition if you're playing this comp.
And ultimately, I think that the theory behind going for that play is sound. It doesn't work, and primarily, I think, because Bwipo is actually soloing out blue buff, and I don't think you expect the Karma to be that close. If Karma's, you know, pathing towards topside, you know, maybe just 5 more seconds away, well, that Akali is going to get out no problem. So it was really just the fact that Karma was able to buy so much time and allow Selfmade and Hylissang to show up that ended up going more poorly for SK than it likely should have.
Yeah, Fnatic swapped their bot lane up to the top side because your bot lane and the tower hitters in the early stages of the game. Towards the mid game, they're the ones that are going to be pressuring the towers if it's not in mid. So bot tower's down, let's swap. Bwipo has TP. The next neutral objective is the Herald, which is spawning soon. So get our bot lane up there, use the TP in case a fight kicks off. And Fnatic have the push in top. They have to regain river control around this top side. I think you'll see Ups and Hylissang push out top and then move towards mid so they can actually start contesting this river vision, which means Nisqy can get aggressive.
And we have to keep our eyes on the 2 strongest members of SK at this moment. TynX now 3-1-0. Jenax with a massive CS lead. The Eclipse now finished. Maybe they can get something done, but if Selfmade finds his flank, if he finds this angle, it's not going to work out. Jayce alone in a side lane, and it is absolute disaster now for SK. This time they cannot make it out alive. The Udyr drops.
Yeah, such a good play from the side of Fnatic. They knew that they would move towards mid. SK knew as well. SK were poised for a fight there, but Fnatic They were the ones who pulled the trigger first. SK don't have too much engage when they're all spread out so far. TynX was on one side, Treatz was running to the Herald pit, so they are going to pick up this Herald. I expect this Herald to go towards mid, but clean decision-making from Fnatic, clean map movements.
Yeah, and I think ultimately what we're looking for from SK now is to stop taking the fight towards the dual lane of Fnatic. Obviously, any sort of fight like that is always going to be a losing one. I think the Jenax has been getting a lot done over on side lanes. They went for that dive on mid 2 with Blue.
Good damage, Gale Force!
Ooh, that was a lot of damage.
That was disgusting.
That was a lot. And the big thing to note is when we take a look at the team gold, you can see Jenax is the only member of his team 6K or above. The rest of his team falling very far behind. The only strong point of SK right now really is Jenax, a little bit TynX as well in terms of raw XP. Otherwise, Fnatic are ahead across the board. So when Jenax gets taken off the map, when he's not providing pressure in a side lane, SK are woefully far behind.
SK might find upset though.
It's going to be big. Upset, where is he going to go? Akali marked. Akali not going to be knocked up, it looks like, before she can dash back in. Blue trying to finish the job. The shutdown is there, though. Nisqy now going to be in trouble. He wants to dash on the stage, but the shielding coming in just in time. Meanwhile, off to the side, Jezu has been isolated, but still, Nisqy is going to get taken down. SK seem to manage.
SK's team fighting is so sick right there, putting the mark on upset. Blue and Treatz working to finish him, then Jezu comes in to get Nisqy. The only thing SK have to do to win these fights is kill the 2 marksmen from Fnatic, kill Nisqy, kill upset. Now that's no easy task, but when you play it like that, working with Fog of War and getting the Akali onto the Fnatic backline, it is somehow now doable.
Yeah, that's the weakness of this comp. Your 2 carries are AD heavy. You have the Lucian and the Kai'Sa. Karma TP's in, she's just a shield bot. She's not going to output too much damage the later the game goes. And such a good setup from SK. They managed to find upset, and that was a crucial target. I think the knockup from Treatz was clutch, and Blue, although he got cancelled, we're having a second. Jezu has the ult. Looks like he should be safe though. Selfmade has the ult as well. Didn't decide to turn it because Jezu had the flash, but 5 seconds on Drake.
Upset going in. Gale Force goes in.
It's horrific. Drake's up in 2 seconds, and your mid laner
payback.
falls. Oh my god, Upset finds the solo kill onto Blue.
And I was about to say how good of a game this has been from Blue. He weathered the storm. It's been a difficult series for him so far, showing up in the late game team fights. But here in the mid game fights, he was finally finding his form. That said, that death is disastrous. Fnatic now set up to take the fight and to take this dragon to move to Soul Point only 18 minutes into the game.
And right before the Drake, 13 seconds on Blue, would have the TP and the perfect execution, but SK can simply not get close enough towards the pit. They can't really trade for much on the opposite side of the map either. They were all taking resets when that pick went down. Blue, I think, just trying to stay on the map, finish off the Rift Maker that is now in his inventory, but things have now slowed down a bit for SK. 5 minutes, and there will be that critical fight going towards Fnatic's way. Now, I will say that TynX getting a lot of early gold, getting a lot of these kills is going to be beneficial. You mentioned the double AD threats, primarily physical damage coming through from Fnatic, and Udyr is one of the best disruptors in the backline, I feel like. The ability to stun multiple targets, be very tanky, deal high base damages with the Phoenix stance too. All he needs to do is get a few auto attacks down, sort of slow down, stop Nisqy or upset in their tracks, and that can set up very nicely for the follow-up from Blue.
Yeah, SK contesting this topside river. Blue has the TP up as well, so he's pushing out bot, Nisqy's pushing out top. Both of them have TP respectively, but Hylissang has the flash engage, TynX has flash too, he might get caught again.
Flash out to safety, ultimate now coming in from the Hecarim, the knockback is there, the rest of the team want to get something done, but Hylissang now marked to the right target, now everyone going in, Treatz into the backside, they're trying to find the fall, they're trying to find the damage, but it's Blue in the midst of everything. 2 damage dealers there, but he needs to move his way, dip, duck, dive, and make it out. Upset almost dead, but Fnatic are now on the retreat. Treatz still moving forward, knowing that they have the advantage in the fight. SK pushing in. This was a team at a massive deficit just minutes ago, now almost neck and neck in the goal.
Look, SK so close to getting the kills right there. If there's any more help for Blue in that fight, he's killing Upset. But the huge win there is going to be the Summoner spell game. Nisqy had to use his flash, Upset still won't have his, and Blue is holding on to his. And that flash, huge for playmaking in these fights. If he holds on to that, that means a kill around this upcoming Infernal Drake fight.
Yeah, I think the mistakes the Fnatic are making in these fights are similar to last game, right? Selfmade's diving way too deep. Upset can't use a killer instinct to join him because he's going into 4 people, which essentially leaves Upset and Nisqy alone against Blue. Blue uses all his spells, chunks out Nisqy and Upset, and then your fight's just kind of so split. You've got Selfmade running away, Bwipo's trying to help him, Nisqy and Upset are running for their lives, and Hylissang doesn't have any re-engage to keep the fight going in a collected manner. So I think Fnatic, they need to find more synergy in these fights. Selfmade and Hylissang jumping in together with Upset, and then Bwipo and Nisqy being together to stop Blue from being able to pick up some kills in the backline and chunking them out to stop the fights.
And the thing that is difficult for Fnatic is the only weakness of their composition is if their backline just gets one shot. If Nisqy and Upset get taken down, they have no more damage on their team. But the one thing that Treatz has been so good at across the entire season is finding a way into the backline. And if they fail to execute in a fight around this Infernal, SK will not have only even to the gold, they will find themselves ahead. It'll be another 5 minutes for them to sit back and scale up. And a composition that expected to be very difficult to play, SK are executing very well in these fights.
Yeah, and you know, Drakos, we've actually seen a couple of different looks from Treatz in these fights, because we saw the one where he's using the Fog of War, popping onto Upset. That's a very easy win for SK. We've also seen the fight where he's spotted out, and then there's a Rell to interrupt him. Jenax in a lot of trouble.
Sidestep moving through. Now going to go and try to get one kill back. It looks like good damage on Bwipo. He's trying to get through. One more auto, but not enough. Now Bwipo's going to be in trouble. The slow now going in. He's trying to heal up. That's going to be the Mantra W. TynX now trying to finish the job, but the TP's now coming in. SK have overstayed. That is not what you can do. The Karma way too hard to kill, and Bwipo manages to live.
Yeah, Jenax gets pushing out, gets punished for pushing out this side lane on bot. He gets collapsed on SK. Looks like they might be able to hit this mid tower and get it, but Jenax falling was huge. I mean, this is the side lane pressure you need. He's a level up on Bwipo. He wins the side lane. He needs to make sure he has some kind of vision so he can push out Jenax. He is the carry essentially for SK in this mid game in terms of having pressure on the map, and getting called out like this it falls apart for your whole team. You can't actually contest anything on the map when Jenax falls.
Yeah, no vision. Udyr not quite close enough to help out when all this damage is going down, and then this is just the tilt-inducing solo lane karma, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, just the full shield, the sustain. Udyr's like, wait, I can't kill him. Oh wait, there's a TP and I have to try and kill him. Oh wait, he's got another shield. Absolutely nothing you can do there, and that's going to be the pain that SK will continue to feel as more items get onto this Karma. Those shields aren't just going to be on the supportive top lane for Fnatic. They're going to be on Nisqy and Upset too.
Yeah, all the attention is going to get shifted to the bot side of the map now. Fnatic 3 dragons, 1 minute on the Infernal Soul for them. So I think SK want to make sure that they can push out bot, push out top, push out these side lanes before it spawns. So Blue will probably push out this wave, base, and join his team, which means Fnatic can keep control until Blue shows up, because they're grouped up as 5. Yes, they're going to lose out on some top waves, but they have to wait until Blue shows before being able to contest this.
I wonder if Blue has the Zhonya's off of this base too to get back onto the map. He does. Okay, that's going to be a really critical purchase for him. Again, has that flash. Nisqy will be vulnerable in these fights. That may be the target that Blue looks for. And now, with the Shroud, with the Zhonya's buying all this time to restore the energy, get that back up, he has the potential to not just get one kill, but then have the potential to go a little bit deeper. Yeah,
Blue is on his way. I think SK need to push themselves through mid, and Blue needs to find some kind of flank. He needs to be split off from his team and join the fight from a different angle so he can start getting onto the carries. You can already see him on the bot side as Nisqy.
Good damage coming in from the Culling. Now Treatz has been locked out and taken down. That is the weakness of Rakan. We called it out in Champion Select. If you ever get CC'd, you get one shot, and now no engage options left for SK.
And SK still have to, it feels like they have to fight this Drake, even though TynX has lost HP, Jezu down to half HP. It is Infernal Soul at the line at 22 minutes, and SK make the tough call to turn away all of this due to the early bot lane 2v2 that Upset and Hylissang smashed SK.
Yeah, Fnatic have all their ultimates up apart from the culling, and if SK decide to take a 4v5 and lose, then they're not only going to lose the Infernal Soul, but they're going to lose the Baron Nashor as well, which is almost like the nail in the coffin. But this Infernal Soul is going to help Fnatic out so much with this double AD composition carries that you have, and Bwipo is going to be protecting them with those items with the Moonstaff combo, and we'll have to see how the game progresses. But Fnatic, they have the Infernal Soul. Now all the attention is shifted towards the top side of the map now. Jenax is going to be crucial to get these side waves pushed out so they can join the fight before Bwipo, but I think Bwipo is not going to care. He's going to group up with his team, and they're going to force an engage.
And we've said this before, that this just feels like SK are again in a position where it feels like Fnatic are in absolute control and there's not a lot of options left to them. Now, admittedly, it's only a 2k gold difference, but that Infernal Soul is going to add up, especially for a Selfmade. When he gets the movement speed destroyed, that's even more damage. His ability to one-shot someone is now incredible. As you see him pushing off to the side, just threatening, just trying to get Blue pushed back as the Shroud has been used, and Fnatic can just start walking towards that Baron. They have total control. Jenax is on the side lane. His TP is still up and available, but he might have to use it to contest this.
Yeah, I mean, it's been like this almost the entire game. Luckily, Jenax not pressured in bot side. Now he'll take the reset alongside Jezu and path back up towards the top end of things, and Fnatic don't want to press the issue too much. Again, it felt like Game 2 was way more tempered from Fnatic. They weren't willing to sort of risk it all. That game, they had a really heavy scaling composition, so it certainly did make sense playing for those fights. This time around, though, a little bit more explosive. Nisqy's chunk damage he gets with the culling every single time could be enough to instantly say, okay, we chunked out TynX, we chunked out Blue. Well, we turn instantly onto the Baron and force SK into us, because if Fnatic are a united front, they will crush SK.
Yeah, Gage not going to connect.
Hylissang looking to engage. Looks like they're just going to take away the red buff. And like you said, the Culling Gale Force combo with the E, it's so much poke, especially with the Infernal Soul. But Fnatic need to pick up the outer towers. Tier 1 mid, Tier 1 top still up. Looks like they'll get the mid one. But Fnatic want to fight. They want to start and engage. Bwipo has a TP. I think he's going to push out bot and join his team. He's 2 levels down on Jenax though. So when it comes to the side lane, Bwipo definitely does not want to be on a side lane against the Jayce. Does level up in the end, only 1 level down. But SK, it's almost similar to last game. They have no vision around the top side river, but they have to keep picking and prodding to find some kind of vision around this top side of the map.
And again, I think we look towards Jenax to be the difference maker for this team. 3 items now as he completes the Edge of Night. This man was massive in Game 2. Just about everything in those fights, but hold that thought. Upset now getting aggressive. TynX waiting over the wall, not going to commit anything else. And Upset just trading ulti for ulti. I think overall positive for Fnatic.
Yeah, 3 items on this Kai'Sa with the Infernal Soul, 2 levels up on Jezu. If he was able to land 1 combo, I think Jezu would have died instantly, but use the ult. It's an ultimate trade, and there Fnatic pick up the mid tier 1. Now they pick up the top tier 1. 3 outer towers are down. Now Fnatic can start pushing into this jungle.
And look, small wins like this, the ultimate off Xayah, huge team fight tool for Jezu to stay alive. You get 1 or 2 more of those, whether it's chunk damage, whether it's big spells, whether it's vision control, that means Fnatic turn towards the Baron. So right now they're playing for vision. Look at Selfmade, so deep in SK territory. Fnatic, if they maybe hit the Baron, do something, and lure SK forward, Selfmade has the nastiest flank I've seen all day.
Yeah, SK want to contest his mid wave. Blue is moving up the river, but Selfmade has moved out his position. He has the flank position, but Hylissang gets caught.
Running in, Hylissang just taken down. Selfmade now coming off to the side, but Treatz has started the fight. Jenax going into the middle of the backline. They're just going to focus on Selfmade. Selfmade running, Upset. Good damage fired back, but a misstep from Hylissang costing Fnatic dearly. They're now in enemy territory, and SK are in control of the fight.
Yeah, half of Fnatic's engage is gone. The Rell is dead. Now, 5v4 for SK. Fnatic are in their jungle. What do SK want to do? They should try and do something. This is probably one of the only windows they'll get against an Infernal Soul. Looks like they're not going to start up the Baron just yet. Fnatic basing on their solo lane. He has the TP Nisqy, but they are going to start it up.
Yeah, Selfmade has ultimate, so this is a winnable fight for Fnatic if SK get a lot of damage, if they can hit the right targets. Blue is trying to zone Selfmade away, and Fnatic relatively scattered on their approach towards the pit.
Bwipo now pushing forward. Upset on the outside, low mana, but he still has enough to get some work done. TynX now moving forward, but it does not work out for them. Pulling back as the Baron now resets. Not good for SK. The window has now closed. A brief moment where they could have found a way back is no longer in their favor.
Yeah, this is horrific for SK. They have to catch mid and top wave, and Fnatic can just keep chasing them. They have so much tempo on the map. Selfmade looking to engage.
TynX taking so much damage. The Infernal Soul doing some work. Jenax now leaping through, but the fear is not going to get blocked out in the end. Selfmade now retreating, but he's a tanky Hecarim. Calling. Goes a bit wide. Blue, what can he get done on the side there? Selfmade still, though, taking no damage. The knockup connects now. Maybe they have the follow, but it's Blue in the midst of everybody. Just gets one shot. You cannot do that against the Kai'Sa. Upset grabs the kill.
Yeah, this is the one fight where Bwipo is actually grouped up with them, popping the shields. You can see Selfmade's almost unkillable for the side of SK with the amount of shields coming out from this Karma top. So much supportive health and shields and all these things. It means that SK's single target damage composition can't find the kills. Treatz didn't have the ultimate for this Baron start, so their turn was essentially an Udyr flash bear slap. But in the end, Upset reads the play, dashes away, they chase down SK, and they get the Baron.
Yeah, Upset ended up using his invis right there to make TynX sort of stand there trying to auto the air, and there's absolutely nothing. We pick up this play after this fight, and again, Selfmade held on to his ultimate all the way up until now. SK are scattered, and if Fnatic are standing pretty much on top of each other with the Karma Mancer E, there's not a whole lot that SK can do. Blue lands an E onto Selfmade. You know, he's trying to dash back in, but you're in the middle of 5 people, you just instantly get CC'd. This melee assassin can do nothing if Fnatic are just walking together as a giant death ball.
Yeah, 40 seconds on the Elder Drake though. Elder Drake can decide the game. Doesn't matter if you have Infernal Soul, doesn't matter if you have a gold lead or Baron. If you have Elder Drake, your team fights are so one-sided to the point where you can just engage freely. Doesn't matter how the engage goes, just get the fight started. But Upset, he's picked up the Guardian Angel, he's coming back towards this Dragon. He's 2 levels up still, and this Guardian Angel is going to be crucial, especially with this kind of dive comp that SK have with the Rakan, with the Jayce, with the Akali. If they all focus down Upset, he has GA, should be able to come back to life, and Nisqy might be their target now instead. So SK coming through bot, they pushed out bot. Fnatic, they want to find the engage. SK have the control though, all these pinks, Fnatic have to clear them out.
Team fight has to be perfect from SK to win. The players you have to look at, Treatz for the engage, no flash on him, and Blue to get the damage done on the backline. Upset has all his summoners ready to go. Nisqy maybe a little bit vulnerable, and you watch Fnatic pushing out mid, bringing Bwipo over towards the fight. SK are trying to burn this down.
They have the Baron buff. Upset now on the way, and remember, he can be there in an instant if he needs to be. Scuttlecrab going to be big as well, increasing the Hecarim damage, increasing the visibility. Blue coming in on the flank, but they've spotted him out, and now it's time to collapse. They've interrupted Treatz. Treatz is going to get taken down. TynX now has to run for the hills. The backline gone as Upset leaps in with the ultimate. Follow-up is too easy for Fnatic. They have routed SK. One last desperate stand, and the Elder Drake will not be enough as it's a triple for Upset and the Elder to Fnatic.
this entire game from start to finish, Upset has destroyed SK from that 2v2. Now Selfmade chases down for a little bit more, and honestly, they're not gonna stop just yet. Hylissang says it's his turn. Selfmade jumps in as well. They're gonna run him all the way back to the fountain, but this game is looking all Fnatic.
Yeah, 20 seconds on the side of SK. They have the Baron buff, they have the Elder buff, they have the Infernal Soul, and I don't think SK, even if they respawn, can defend this play. They have a wave. Looks like they're gonna hit onto the towers. Treatz is up, 6 seconds on Jezu, 10 seconds on Jenax, but I think this game is all but done.
Stun layered up, follow-up is there, Elder Dragon. Just to sing the song of an SK defeat, Fnatic will move up and move on to match point. They will not let SK turn the game around one more time as they focus down the Nexus. Jenax gets a little space, but Fnatic find the win.
And this all comes from the bot lane, right? 3 2v2 kills and all 3 kills going on to Upset. From that moment onwards, Selfmade just played through bot into mid, and from there, the Kai'Sa was just way too far ahead for SK to deal with. Yes, they found a pick onto Hylissang, and they tried to do a Baron, but again, Upset, using the invisibility on his E, gets away from SK's turn engage with the flash bear slap on Udyr, and from there, the game just kind of falls apart. They can never really find Upset in these fights.
And one of the biggest differences in this game was the difference between a Xayah and a Kai'Sa for the side of Fnatic. When Fnatic found a good engage, when Selfmade found a good engage, Upset could be there to follow up an instant or get out very quickly. Xayah feels purely defensive in this game, but when you give Upset that offensive angle, he and Fnatic make it work.
And look, we came into this series expecting it to be about the bot lane, the two strongest areas on the map for both of these two teams, and the expectation was Fnatic's bot lane, so insanely aggressive, they look to get these kills, they break apart SK, and that is exactly what they did in this game, and SK are gonna have to figure out some way to battle against this, because from level 1 it was completely doomed.
Yeah, and you have to question SK's decisions on the red side, right? They first pick away the Hecarim, and you just give them Kai'Sa, Rell, and you're opting into Xayah, Rakan, and then you get 2v2 kill 3 times in a matchup which you should actually lose. I think there was just a questionable bot lane draft, especially when bot lane is so important in this series, and Fnatic just ran away with it.
And I think SK tried to show us more that game. With the Akali, with the Jayce, ultimately it does not work out in their favor. We'll see what their strategy will be. They'll have side selection heading into game 4, but Fnatic managed to bounce back after game 2, and when we return, we'll take a closer look at that bottom lane.
Still no friends, huh?
Why can't you do something normal?
How did you get past the login screen? You beat her!
You haven't got what it takes.
Come on!
The systems are overloading. We can't risk another game.
We need to take a break and regroup.
We're starting to lose our mind. Captain, we cannot go back to Elo Hell. Last time it took us months to get out of it.
Initiate break protocol.
Hurry up!
Yes! Yes! I did it! We did it! We did it!
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
And welcome back to the LEC Spring Playoffs. Besides a few mistakes here and there, Fnatic did have full control of this series. It has been dramatic, it has been energetic, it has been chaotic, especially for Fnatic. But I do need to start by talking about the draft this time around. We saw a very different look and a different approach. No tank in the top lane. The Jayce, the Akali was something we talked about. I'm going to go to Crownshot first on this one. What did you make of SK's adaptation coming into Game 3?
Well, it seems like they wanted to play more of a like carrier style top lane to use their red side more, because they have chosen red side twice now, right? Which means they believe that's the best way for them to win. But it didn't work because their bot lane got set too far behind, and the Jayce can't make up for that because he was kind of even early. Obviously, he got ahead in farm later, but that's just what happens.
I personally think the blind pick Akali was dangerous. Mainly because the champion, while having changes, she has a really weak laning phase. She usually spikes pretty hard at one item, depending on what build you go for. But into Lucian specifically, I really liked the response from Fnatic and how they were able to handle it. And like the casters talked about it, the Karma Lucian insta-lock, once they saw the Akali solo lane, I think was perfect. Because they then had a safe top side. Any potential carry that SK could draft, it was immediately neutralized. The Lucian is such a strong matchup into the Akali. If Akali can ever get a kill, then there's a way in which you can swing that matchup. But yeah, as Crownshot said, like the reality was, even though SK had a game plan to play around their solo laners, their bot lane got smashed. Like Upset took that one so personally. Like it was such a bot diff this game.
I got so nervous when I saw the draft because of what I've seen in the two previous games. I actually said the words out loud. This is a comp that Fnatic can dive to their death with. And if it's not executed well, now that wasn't the case this time around. I thought there was a little bit more tempered aggression, not from Upset. I think the bot diff this game was ginormous. Upset and Hylissang in the duo, you know, going into the Xayah Rakan, it was a matchup that SK were fully aware of. They opted to go into it. But Upset, Fnatic, they just absolutely decimated Jezu and Treatz.
Yep, they completely did. And like it started very early on into the laning phase as well. Level 3, you can see they're actually a level down, yet they decide to commit to it anyway because they realize how much stronger they are in the 2 versus 2. And like respect to Upset as well, recognizing that he has the damage. I definitely thought that he was just going to back off here, but he knew that if he procced the passive, he could get the burst. And like this wasn't the only time. Like Upset went from AD carry to assassin this game, and he was really popping off. And like you only have to look at his stats. This is from this series, by the way, just this series. Okay, so you can see like 16.3 CST at 15 minutes. He averages 850 gold. Like that, like the bot gap has been quite tremendous. And
Crownshot, as a self-professed, you know, bot laner yourself, what do you make of the bot gap difference here?
I mean, I think it's just I think Upset is just quite a better player, to put it lightly. Also, like Rell has huge prior, right? Both of them play Rell. Alistar is banned. And you know the enemy will not match you with a range support that counters Rell. So then just pick the Rell. If you can't play Xayah Rakan into if you die level 1, then just pick the Rell yourself. But yeah, obviously, as I said, like I stressed a lot that Fnatic like to fight you early, and they will fight you, and they will punish your misplays. So if you don't know how to play these matchups level 1 to 3, you will always die, and you cannot contest into Kai'Sa level 1 in like that.
No, you absolutely can't. And now, of course, Fnatic, they are 2-1 up on match point, looking to pick up the win. Something that we were talking a lot about was the fact that on the red side, SK were not getting the advantage of counterpick. On the red side, they drafting left some desires, some things left to be desired. The early game impact from TynX and the rest of the squad just not matching up. SK have chosen blue side now for the first time. Right. When I announced this to you a moment ago, you actually went, yes. This is the first time we'll see a big change. But surely it's a mountain of changes that need to come in here for us.
Yeah, because as we already saw, like there's already a bot gap. So that's your first problem. How do you deal with the fact that your bot lane 2v2 is just losing? Well, one solution they had was getting Treatz Alistar, because even if they fell behind, Treatz still had a way to have impact. And when they had Jezu on a scaling AD carry, he could still have impact at a certain point if things went their way. The second problem they then have is if they're going to draft carry laners, how do they successfully play around them? Well, that involves TynX's active early game, yeah. And this game, he definitely was able to get a couple ganks off. He went mid a couple times, he went top a couple times. Unfortunately, it just didn't amount to much. At least this time on blue side, I think their focus needs to be get a scaling comp, try to have a comp where you actually have the better scaling into the late game, weather the storm that is the early game, and hope that Fnatic make the same mistakes that they often do, which is like
and punish them
into fights and then punish them with a better scaling draft.
Crownshot, how would you tell SK to win this game knowing they're on blue side?
I mean, maybe they just have to first pick something like a Hecarim and then wait to see what Fnatic picks on 1-2 on bot lane, and then just try to respond with a strong combo that allows them to play easier. Maybe go for something like a Jhin that enables them laning easier, and then just try to do that, yeah. But I think if they keep bleeding like this from bot lane, there's no way they win.
So draft and then execution. Now, gentlemen, I'm extremely excited to announce that both of your predictions were wrong. You both said 3-0 Fnatic. Okay? You're wrong. Technically, this is the truth. I will, however, as I'm a benevolent analyst Coast, give you the opportunity to change your prediction, okay? Will we see game 5?
No.
And Crownshot, will we see a different winner?
I think it's going to be 3-1, yeah. I'm actually curious what SK will do, how SK will adapt here, because they've been playing kind of like last pick top every game, right? So now let's see like what they do, right?
Well, we'll see what their plan is. I would like everyone watching at home, remember this moment. I gave them both the opportunity to change. We'll see if SK can force game 5 as they're on the verge of being eliminated from the spring playoffs.